Hello. Ooh, I forgot something. Hold on. There we go. I was already thinking, why is it so dark? But lights were off. Sweet. Well, it's good to be back. Very exciting. Very excited, I must say. Yeah, very quick stream. How's it going, everyone? Arshan is there. First, Eggplant's back, of course. Mason, how's it going? Philip, hello. Kessel's back. Willkommen zurück, mein Freund. Mason is weer. Dublin, Mix Warp. Good to see you all. Good to see you all. We go into the actual live stream tracks. Alright, so we have a couple. Dompoon is first. You can still send in tunes if you like. I don't know how long we're going to be going for today. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how far we go. Yo, Birch is here as well. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I mean, this is just a feedback stream today, but I do have some cool stuff I wanted to share. Yo, XIX99, Marty's here. Don't worry, don't worry. We have something special planned for next week. Trying to set that up. But yeah, how about we just go into some tunes? And in between, when we have a bit more viewers as well, when everyone's here, everyone's catching up, then I have some cool stuff I want to share. Also waiting for them to join the chat. I think they're still chatting in the background. We just had a meeting with the team. We have a lot of new team members. We've expanded a lot. So yeah, well, I'll talk about it a bit later when they join the chat. Yes. Let's go into the first one. By the way, this new Alex Beach, damn, really good tune. It's getting picked up by quite some channels as well, I believe. Stream's doing well too. Just give it a quick like. It's on a different account, by the way, so I like all the tracks on my own account. Yeah, they're doing quite well. I really like the sound, and this is also the type of sound I want to develop further with SEKORA, because I do feel like it really fits nicely into the SEKORA sound, and it performs well too on the playlist. Yeah, this is a great track. I love this one. I tend to listen to this one on repeat for quite some time as well. Okay, but we're gonna go into the first track, which is by Dampoon, Sleepless. Turn it down a little bit. There we go. Don't worry, next week more chances for feedback stream. The next, so if you're working on some stuff, next week will be a big one. So I think that's the stream where you want to have something ready. Yeah, better get that track ready for next week, Mike. You know it. I like the sound of this. It's cool. But I won't be talking too much over these tracks. I got the feedback as well from Nick last week. He's like, these guys are chilling in the chat, they're listening to this music and you keep talking over it like I'm doing right now. So I'm gonna shut it. Definitely good first track, for sure. Is he in the chat, by the way? Anyone catch that Dampoon tonight? Okay, so we're almost closing this track. I think we've heard most of what it's about. I like the way it's produced. It's quite nice. Drums are on point, I'd say. I mean, some parts could be a little bit tighter, I guess, but that's like slight mixing thing. When it comes to the overall track, I like the vibe. There's a strong vibe in there as well. You know, the lead, I'm not sure if it's catchy enough. You know, it does have something memorable about it, but also I'm not sure if the hook is strong enough. So while it's a good song, while I like it, There isn't much I would change about it. It has its purpose. I think like as a hook, that it could be a bit more interesting, like with some counter melodies or some alterations on that main lead. Yeah, I think that's what could improve this track. But I guess it's probably just going over it once or twice, and then you'd have it just the way it is. And some tracks are just they are what they are. But yeah, I tend to go for tracks that have like a very strong catchy hook that really memorable. And this is like a solid track, but it's not, I wouldn't like necessarily remember this one. So even though it's a good track, right? If that makes sense. I'm just gonna go into the next one because I have a feeling we're gonna get a lot of tracks today. Yeah, there we go. So instead of me going on for hours and hours being like, this is my TED Talk every Tuesday, my West Talk, because I tend to talk a lot. I get that feedback quite often, especially from my good friend down under. He's he's the one that complained. He gave me feedback on my feedback stream. He's like, you C-word, you talk over the tracks way too much. So they're trying to listen to the track and you just keep on talking. I'm like, yeah, it's my stream. I can do what I want. So, all right, next up is Pinkowitch. Strategic Ambiguity, version 2.10. I'll try to not talk too much over it. Let's say max 20% of the track. So that's what? About a minute of talking, minute and a half maximum. Not too much. I just go grab some water and then I'll have most of it covered. Staying hydrated. I like the sound of this melody. I'm just not sure if this is the right melody for it. It's a little bit static, but we'll just go through the track, and I have a nice little tip afterwards that can help with this type of thing. I like this bass line. The bass line is good, solid. All right, so far, what I've heard, it feels like two different songs. I like the minimal setup here. But yeah, it just feels like two different songs because everything that's in the breakdown is nowhere to be found here. Okay, now it's coming back. Yeah, let me pause this real quick before we go into the second section. There's probably more here. So the first thing I wanted to mention when it comes to the melody, right? So I'm personally the sounds, I like them. I like the vibe of the track. I really like this drop, this minimalistic drop. Just like the melody and the breakdown just doesn't speak to me. It just doesn't grab me. I mean, that's also personal taste, but some sections where, you know, sometimes with the melody, even if it's not your taste, you can still tell that when it's static. So here, what happens is the timing between, like the space between the notes are all the same. So then it starts to sound quite repetitive and monotone, like you know, it's too the same. So trying to mess around a little bit with the placement and the rhythm and the timing of these notes and the space between the notes can already give it a much more of a lively feeling. And then you can still use the same notes, but just using shifting one or two of them can already sort of offset the listener a little bit, where you're like, all right, this is more interesting now because it becomes a more complicated rhythm or melody. So that's one thing. And the way to make alterations in this case is something that I've learned recently. So what happens is when you're making music, right, you go with a loop, and you know, you just start with like an ARP or pads or you know, chords or whatever you start with. Everyone's process is different, but what happens, or what tends to happen, is you start building a loop. That's how most people start, right? You start building a loop and you go with a melody and you're like, all right, this melody is pretty cool. Let me just make some chords underneath. Okay, you got your chords. All right, cool. Let me make a bass line. So the bass line is really cool. I think there's also some chords in there that, you know, they fit well. And then you start just building and building and building. And then you sort of, okay, this is it. And then you just continue. But what I've learned is that, I'm not sure if you guys already do this or whatever, but I'm just sharing how I see it. What I learned is taking, for example, only the chords of that loop that you just created, and those chords came because of the melody, but then afterwards you just duplicate the loop, you take away the melody, and you start creating a new melody, either with the same sound or with a different sound or whatever. And also what tends to happen is to put yourself in a different mood. So let's say you take a picture of a tropical beach. You start getting into a different mood and different setting. So you have the chords, you have the bass line, and then you make a melody that is sort of written for the tropical beach, right? And then you take another picture of a snowy mountain or a forest or whatever inspiration, like an industrial complex, something else, and you create a melody with that vision, with that mood. And this way you're creating alterations of your melody, and there you can sort of decide which one sticks out the most, which one is the most interesting, the catchiest hook. And worst case scenario, you might have some alteration that you can use later on in the track where your melody sort of switches and you create this new version of your own song. And yeah, and in the best case scenario, you come up with something that's a lot more catchy than the first thing you came up with. So when you have that loop, instead of going from the loop and like, okay, this is it, and then just building your track, do like a little session where you make especially with Ableton. It's super easy because you can just drag and drop the clips into the session view, I think. You have the session and the I think it's live view. I don't know, whatever. The one where you can click the play button, basically. The one no one really uses except for those who play live. So yeah, there you can create multiple melodies and multiple ideas, and you can sort of test which ones actually stick with you the most. and then you can use that throughout your track. And most of the time when I do stuff like this, I come up with something completely different from what I originally have written, and it tends to fit better with the song that I was eventually going for, than the one I wrote in the beginning. But sometimes, yeah, you just need to have a melody to start with, and then you start building other parts on top of that melody, and then you might decide that at the end, the melody I've written in the beginning, it was just a placeholder for something better to evolve into. So, yeah, that's my advice when it comes to songwriting. Then there was something else I want to say about this track, but maybe I'll remember when we go through the rest of it. I think when the songwriting part, try it. You'll be surprised with the results. Oh yeah, I remember, but I'll do it after the drop. Yeah, the arrangement is nice, so that's already set up. The rest is just tweaking, I guess. Yeah, most of it covered. Okay, so something that I started using more often, and I already did it in the past, was, let me turn it down a little bit. Actually, just go into the background here. Yeah, so another little thing I started doing this more often was, so you take a texture, and whether you either like an ambient texture or whatever, you can just grab it off Splice. But there's a video of Tim Green against the clock, or in the studio. He's doing a studio session, and he did it in a really nice way. So what you do is you take like a guitar lick, or some ambient pad, or some pad in a certain key that you're working in. Let's say you're working in G minor. You take like a pluck, like a guitar pluck. You put on a lot of reverb or echo, something that really smears it out, so you get this really long tail. And then what you do is to create a pad sound. So right now you have these pads are sort of evolving pads, and they become beautiful and big and whatnot, but it's sort of missing a rhythm. And if you take a section of a short ambient sound or something like that, and you loop it, it has this click when it resets. So, and sometimes even if you offset the loop so it doesn't perfectly time with every beat, if it offsets a little, you get this ambient sound, but it has a little click in it, so it makes it rhythmic as well. And then you loop it over a certain amount of bars, and then it resets every 4th bar, for example. So it is on beat for every 4 bars. But with every bar, it's a little bit offsetting, and it creates this loop where you have this ambient space. It instantly sets the mood and ambience for your track. But instead of having this boring same old pad that everyone is using, that's evolving and beautiful and ooh, you have something that's a bit more rhythmic. So it actually makes more sense when it comes to dance music. And yeah, and the way I refound this technique, and I refound using this when I was watching one of Tim Green's old videos, where he usually starts with this. So that's what's his songs are very rhythmic, even though they're not high BPM most of the time, and that's what he actually used as a pad sound in the background. So I think that could really benefit this track right here, this Pink Witch track. So yeah, definitely check it out. Look up that video. I mean, it's like a timing thing. He has to make a track in 15 minutes or 20 minutes or something like that. And that's one of the first things that he starts with. He takes his guitar, he plays a couple notes, he drowns it in reverb, and then just exports it to audio, and then just takes up a slice. The thing is, like, the nice part is that you can just move around the sample to find something that's loopable, that sounds cool, and then you already have something to work with. And it's yeah, it's a great technique. I used it a couple times in a bunch of tracks, and it really gets you into the rhythm, you know. A bed of sound, yeah, could be. Yep, let's go. JPB is the next up. G minor. I'm working on this week. Let's see how much we got. All right. I like this. It's good. Yeah, I agree on the bass. I think it's a mixing thing, so I'm not gonna dive too much into that. Some parts just need to be mixed a bit better. So yeah, check your low end as well. I think that bass line can be a bit louder. The rest I'm just listening to the song itself. Hello everyone, I just joined. Epicure, Eva. How you guys doing? Yeah, I like this song. I think it's probably one of the best ones you've sent. So I really like where this is going. I think it just needs a little bit more touching up with the mixdown parts. And I also think that you're using more melodies in this part than you are here. Some of the melodies can also be added here. Yeah, and also with the melodies, what I'm also hearing is that almost all of your key elements are dead center. So they're sort of fighting each other for that same space. With, for example, the vocal, you know, when that lead comes in, you can also pan a little bit to the left or to the right. So create some space for that lead to shine. Yeah, other than that, really nice track. Just needs a bit more work, I guess. And then so the mixing part, you know, check your leads. Maybe spice it up a little, make it a bit more fancy. I feel like this lead could really benefit from like a tape distortion or tape saturation, you know, to make it a little bit grittier, more gritty analog feeling to it. Especially because it's like such a sharp noise, right? Such a sharp sound. To take the edges off, like a tape distortion plugin or tape saturation. I tend to use Kramer tape a lot by Waves. That's actually my go-to tape plugin for creating leads and all that type of stuff. I think that could make it sound nicer. Yeah, look at the bass line. I feel like the bass line, it's really nice already, but you can probably push it a bit more, so you can get that really, like, you know, deep sound out of it. Other than that, good track, good job. I think it's probably one of my favorites of what you've sent me for the past months. Next one, Eggplant. All right, I also see Modera has joined the chat. Evan, do you know if Greg and Matt are gonna join us too, or are they gone? All right. Greg's like, yeah, I joined the stream last time, so now I don't have to join for at least half a year. To be fair though, I never ask Greg to join or tell him to join. It's all voluntarily. I like it's good. It's good, nice and chill. Pianos are good. Still have my WhatsApp open somewhere. There we go. Yeah, I really like this. I mean, I know I was a bit distracted, but when I don't hear anything bad, I don't really have any comments. I mean, it doesn't have not bad per se, but you know what I mean. I think it's a good sign. I didn't feel the urge to talk over it. That's an indicator of how good your song is. Check out. Okay, so yeah, I was noticing something with the build up and the drop, so to speak, and I was thinking like, what is it that I'm hearing? I think what's happening is that there's too much bass before the kick comes in. So as you can hear, got like super like low subs playing, and it plays all the way till the kick hits. So there's no space for the track to breathe, because it's just like being fed information all the time. So either if you want to have that bass continue up until the climax or drop, put a low cut and like automate it so it at least cuts out all the low frequencies before that kick comes back in. I mean, it doesn't have to be like, you know, put your hands up and go crazy, but at least have some contrast, and there's like not much contrast going on here. So yeah, other than that, I think it's just mixing things, you know, to make certain elements pop a little bit more. I mean, drums could be a bit tighter, I'd say. So yeah, most of this, everything is already there, so I think most of it is just polishing up the mix, and then I'd say it's pretty much good to go. Yeah, I remember like a little top plug that comes in here and there, like little riffs to add a little bit. So it's sort of a melody that plays with that vocal. So when the vocal's not there, you have like a little, either like a piano thing, like ding ding ding, or like a plug that's like, you know, lots of reverb type of plug, or like riffs or so, you know, stuff like that. Apart from everything that's already happening, and then when the vocal comes in, it's gone. And like have something like an instrument that sort of plays with that vocal, so it's like a, you know, call and answer type of thing. That's basically it, I'd say. Other than that, don't have much to add. It's a good song. Nice job. Nice job. All right, I'm gonna go to David. Yeah, talking about the announcements, I do want to do an announcement, but I don't see Greg and Matt in the chat, so I do kind of want to have them involved. So we go to Gavin's track first, and I'm gonna turn on the heater because it is cold here. I mean, I'm sitting in my t-shirt, but still, you know. I like to have it nice and warm inside. It's just like my feet are cold, so that's it. Yeah, I agree. Like pianos, they shouldn't be sidechained too hard. I mean, if it's too hard, too noticeable, it just, I don't know. Not really my taste. Oh. Sorry guys. Long days. Long hours. Okay, so this is something. SEKORA reflections. Yeah, if I would call it reflections, that would be the biggest rip off. It's a really cool emotional track. I mean, there's nothing much I can say about the drums, because that's not really my expertise in this genre, but I do feel like they could be a bit tighter. Just my amateur opinion on this genre. Yeah, the pianos and the melodies are great. I think that's what this whole track is about. Check this. I did find that this bar is a bit... I get it that you want to have this minimal piano, but there's a lot of like super silence in there. So maybe this here, I don't know, something that could be a bit quicker, I'd say. I mean, I was gonna give you some feedback on this track, but you could probably just read the chat. Don't really have to do much here. Yeah, just overall, I think, yeah, just, you know, needs a bit more work, but the idea is there, so it's just, you know, a matter of continuing on it and, you know, making it sound better and take it to a whole new level. So, yeah, I mean, I can go into details about that, but it's about, you know, putting in the work, I'd say. So, plus the chat has already, the chat had spoken. Let's continue. Arshan Kopo. Alright, 4 more. Okay. I'm actually curious, because in my, like, for me, it feels like I'm really like rushing through tracks right now. But how does that feel for you guys? Is it like, am I going too fast, or would you say like, no, it's actually, you know, it's pretty good? Because I feel like if I want to stay within a certain amount of time limit, especially when we're getting more and more demos, I actually have to, you know, have to go through tracks a little bit faster. Yeah. Okay, sweet. Yeah, you know, I have a little less than an hour, I'd say. So that's good. yeah, I have a feeling that Matt and Greg are not gonna join us anymore. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make the announcement myself, or announcements. There are multiple. We've actually had a team meeting, a team call before the stream, and I'm happy to announce that we've expanded the team, or I think we've almost doubled the team. So I'm very happy about that. We got a whole bunch of great people on board with the SEKORA team. There's 4 people that joined over the past 2 weeks, and yeah, basically what we're going to be doing, we're going to be expanding on the amount of releases. We're expanding on events concept. So I got someone that's going to help with setting up events for ADE, but also for Berlin, hopefully in May. So that's cutting it a bit short, but I think we still have enough time to set that up. And I have someone who's going to be doing communications, and we have a really nice project coming up about that. But since I still need to have it confirmed, it's like 99% confirmed. I cannot announce it yet, and I want to do it properly. I want to announce it properly. So I'm going to have to wait with that a little bit longer on what the plans are. But yeah, so we have someone that's doing communication, trying to set up interviews and really grow the SEKORA brand and our exposure, and what the best strategies and ways are to get more people to basically see the label and know what we're doing, what we're about, etc. And even though that's something that sort of comes naturally when you're growing as a brand or label or a company, whatever you want to call it, I feel like having someone on it that's like dedicated for that job sort of takes off the pressure a little bit of my shoulders, so I don't have to do all that work myself. I can just have someone that's just dedicated to finding blogs and writing a little bit about SEKORA, presenting it to the right people, and finding the people that want to do interviews or whatnot, and yeah, double that income. Well, that is definitely the goal. I mean, for sure I want to make sure that SEKORA is bringing in more revenue, so we can expand the team even further, or get the current team members, either the existing ones or the new ones, to spend more time on the label, and I can compensate them more so they can work more for the label. So yep. Yeah, no, it's no, definitely, like, doubling the income is a big goal for me. I'm not driven by money or greed, but it's more that increasing the revenue or doubling the revenue of this label can also increase its growth exponentially, because most of the revenue that comes in, I just I spend it on growing the team. So just like now, growing the team, investing it back into the label, investing it in artists, and getting better vocalists, features on tracks, getting more artists on the label. So yeah, in return it also helps with the growth and of the label a lot. So that's why a big goal is to double the revenue, 100%. Yeah, exactly, more revenue for ad spend, that as well. So we're going to be doing that by trying to we're going to be looking for more demos, trying to get more releases, and getting new artists on board, but also working with the ones we already have, or trying to develop you guys that are so close to getting released, developing that sound to get it to the right sound, and making sure that it's release ready. So by doing that, without further ado, I want to announce that we have 2 new A&Rs joining us. I know you guys know that there was a open position for A&R. I was at first trying to get only one person on board as an A&R, but it happened to be that we had 2 great candidates that really stood out for me, where it actually added a lot of value to the team. And yes, I'm taking a little bit of a risk getting 2 new people on board, and it might take a bit more time, but I felt like both of them, they have their own little niche that they're in. Well, not little per se, but they have their own niche that they're in, and it can really be a great addition to the team. So without further ado, our first A&R I want to announce is our very own Evan Kessler. You guys know him as Modera. He produces as Modera. He's going to be one of the first, he's the first new A&R I want to announce. When I sent out the email to the artist, you know, mentioning that we're looking for an A&R, etc. And also everyone that that applied, thank you a lot for your applications. I think I got back to everyone that applied for the A&R position. Just felt like when I started chatting to Evan about this, and I was actually surprised that he applied for this position as well. But yeah, his dedication also within the community, like really putting in that extra effort and always being here and, you know, chatting with all you guys. Yeah, it's really motivating also to me, you know, having someone like Evan in the community in general, but also now on the team. You know, it's really helpful, and that helps me a lot. Same goes with Greg. You know, Greg has been a big motivator for me over the past 2 years that we've been working together, and he's the one that, you know, without Greg, I probably sometimes would never get to some of the demos, because he's the one that really keeps on pushing it. So yeah, I'm really thankful for having Greg, and now having Evan as well to help Greg get, you know, more demos, better demos, and yeah, basically grow SEKORA and its catalog that way. And the way that we're doing it is because I want to give all the releases the same promotional effort as all the others that came before it, and we've had like one release per week up till now, or at least the last year and a half, I'd say. And you know, some people would tell me that, yeah, as soon as you go more releases per week, then it sort of loses its value, and you know, you distance yourself from the music and it becomes like a factory. I agree, but I also strongly disagree. I do think there is a way to do this in a good way, and we've come up with a way to do this in a good way, because you know, we need to have, if we have more tracks and more artists in the label, it can definitely has more potential to grow. And the way that we're going to be doing this is by releasing every week a chill track and a club track. So when you think chill track, you could think something like this one, the Maui When You Want It. If I'm being completely honest, these type of tracks, the easy listening ones, or the ones like the streaming tracks, those are the ones that bring in the most revenue, hands down. Club tracks, I mean, good luck. If you're releasing only club tracks, good luck to you, sir. You're gonna have a bad time, because you're probably not gonna make a lot of money. And you know, in order to do this full time, you need to bring in cash. So our main goal or focus has always been tracks that are sort of easy listening. But since I also play at clubs, I want to have club music. So I've been making a lot of club oriented tracks as well myself. I know they'll probably be streaming less than some of the stuff I've been putting out before that were like super easy to get to 1 million streams. But yeah, I want to have this balance. So I want to have the balance of the easy listening, the chill tracks, and on the other side, the more club oriented tracks, like for example, Bound to Divide's The Unknown. And even though The Unknown is performing really well, it's not even close or half. It's not even half of what some of his more chill tracks are doing on a daily basis. So that gives an example. Even though I know how to push club tracks, and I've been doing this for years, I've always had a very hard time pushing club tracks. But yeah, it's, you know, it's this balance, and because it's a different, how do you say, a different niche, it's like a different place. With the club tracks, we orient more on the DJs who are actually playing at the clubs and events and getting our support there, and certain playlists as well. And then on the chill house tracks, yeah, we get other types of playlists. And I feel like it can be a good combination, and that's what I want to go for. I have a chill track and a club track every week, and see where it takes us. You know, I feel like it's going to be a great year. And then also the stuff that Evan is going to be focusing on It might be a little bit slower tempo, perhaps, maybe. I'm not gonna give away too much because we're still developing it. But I know he's been talking to a very valuable member of this community, who's been sending in some sweet tracks, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I'm definitely wondering where that's gonna take us. And I think with Evan having his background in more ambient type of music, but also the melodic house and progressive type of styles. And the remix that he did for me last year, I feel like we can definitely take this label to new heights and also expand it into territories that we haven't done before. So yeah, I guess we'll see where it takes us, and I'm very excited about that. And then the other member, A&R, that joined is also an artist on SEKORA, so I'm also happy with that. And also quite a bit surprised to see him respond, so that was a nice surprise as well there. Which is Matt Leger. And Matt has released a track with us about a year and a half ago called Falling Leaves. And when I heard this one, it was one of my favorites. It just has everything. I don't know what it is. I just love this track. And Falling Leaves, I mean, the name by itself was for me an instant signer. But yeah, this track is just really good. So yeah, Matt is gonna be joining us as well. And Matt is gonna he has tons of experience. So when I saw these two guys apply, I was like, I cannot choose between you guys. So I had a talk with them. And I was very happy that they were both willing to join the team. So welcome Matt and Evan. I think this is a great step forward. They're going to be a great addition to the A&R team. So yeah, starting from now, I guess you can start sending in demos to Matt or Evan directly as well, whatever you like. We still have the demo at sekoramusic.com email, and that's also where the entire A&R team will receive these demos. So it's going through all of them, so everyone has a potential to check it out. Yeah, and Matt, his sort of expertise lies also with the music that he makes himself, more organic house, the more chill progressive type of stuff. What I noticed is we were getting a lot more demos like this one, for example, but also like the ones from Eugene Becker, this one, stuff like this. When I first got because I think Eugene Becker was one of the first that sent in this type of track. It's like how do you say, like Ibiza lounge progressive house. That's like instantly, that's what I think when I hear this type of music. I think Ibiza, like white everything, like a beach bar that's all full white, get this real Ibiza vibe going. That's the type. That's what I think when I hear this type of music. And when I think it was Zenith Odyssey. When I first got this EP, I wasn't really sure if this was the sound I wanted to go for. But I do really like the track, and I also wasn't sure if I was able to actually push them. And looking at the results, they're doing pretty well, I'd say. I actually like this. So this EP has been quite surprising with its, because this is a lot of streams for this type of music, honestly. But yeah, we were getting more and more of these tracks, and it followed up with Tale True Story by Alex Piche. Also very close to that sound, performing well as well. And yeah, and then they got together. They're like, we sound so similar. How about a collab? So we got Echo and Lost, and that one has also been performing well. So yeah, this sound I want to explore it a bit more, go more into that, into that progressive type of vibe, and also a little bit of organic house. And honestly, Fontaine has been my favorite of late. So yeah, that's what Matt will be focusing a bit on. or a bit more on. And of course, you can always send tracks to each A&R individually if you like, but most of the time, if you just send the demo one, it goes to everyone's inbox. Yeah, we do have separate emails. What I suggest that you do is, if you have a favorite A&R, is to follow them on Instagram, because I'm sure they'll be announcing it on their Instagram or on their socials. And you know, if they like to have their email out there, let me check the Alright, that should fix it. Yeah, so you know, if they want to have their emails out there, I'm not sure, you know, how they want to work. I haven't I haven't told them what to do per se, so they're free in their own choice. If they want to throw in their email here, that's also cool. If they don't want to, they'll probably announce it on their Instagram. So I'd say give them a follow, and then we just take it from there, you know. Yeah, so that's that. Then we also have Maurits, who is going to be joining us, and yeah, Chloe is going to be doing communications in PR. So all you artists, you SEKORA artists, you're probably going to get to know her on a very short basis, short time. And yeah, we're also going to be expanding with the events, so that's something that we're working on, which is going to be Maurits, our new events manager. Very enthusiastic guy, lots of energy. I really like his vibe, and yeah, you know, I like to surround myself with people that want to actually like do stuff, you know, go-getters. And I think he's gonna get a lot. I don't know. He definitely has his motivation. Like, he's really someone that wants to work, and you know, wants to achieve cool stuff, and he's super excited about everything that we're doing. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. Those have been the announcements. I went in for like one A&R, and we got 4 people to join the team. But yeah, it was something that was long overdue, and hopefully that gives me time and ease of mind to focus on the things that can really take the label further. Also do more streams on a consistent basis, make more videos, and basically create that content, you know. So yeah, the final thing that I'm sort of looking for is someone to do content management and also mixes on YouTube. I know I'm already talking to someone about this, but I'm not sure which one, if he's just gonna do the YouTube mixes, because that's something that we want to sort of expand on, making more mixes for YouTube, and also content managing, so creating videos, like cutting videos, doing a little bit of Photoshop work here and there. So if you think, hey, SEKORA, I want to join those peoples, and you have experience with video and photo editing, then send me a message, shoot me an email, something like that, maybe in the Discord. We can have a chat about it. And if I don't find anyone close in, let's say, a week or 2, I'm probably gonna open it up as an application. But yeah, that's a whole new process. So when that happens, you'll see it. But yeah, if you hear it now and you feel like I can do that, definitely hit me up. Okay, we're gonna go back into some demos. Having said all of that great news, and welcoming everyone to the team, all the new members. Next up is Arshant. Also very excited that Arshant is going to be releasing his first track with us soon. I'm not sure when it's scheduled yet, but... And I like that he's doing extended mixes now. Improvement there. Sounding good. Alright, so we're probably releasing in June, I guess. It's all good, you know, if you plan it way ahead, you have... Oh, May. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Also good timing for when the sun starts to shine. Perfect timing for chill house. Have you sent this one before? Not sure, but the song is great. I honestly think, yeah. No. I mean, if you sent this for the feedback stream before, not sure. You know, I'm actually I'm curious. Now that I have some backup in the chat, I'm curious what Evan thinks of this one. Cool. Because I have a feeling that this one could also fit nicely on SEKORA. But yeah, I'm talking a lot over this one so people don't rip this song. It's a really good track, I like it. I do think it could use a little bit of, how do you say, secret sauce on top of it. So like some movement or variations or little riffs or ear candy in between to spice it up a little. But other than that, solid production. Yeah, so yeah, exactly what I just said. Evan mentioned the exact same thing. So like little bells and whistles that were like, oh, that's cool, or that's like a counter melody or something, like a little hook, or you know, something that sort of catches your ear. You're like, oh, that's sweet, you know. It makes you sort of like really get into that dream state where you're like, oh, your mind's wandering. I honestly think this, now that we have Evan on board, I think this could be a great, I mean, I would send it to Greg as well, of course, if you want to consider us for if you want us to consider this track for SEKORA, is what I was trying to say. Like send it to the demo at sekoramusic.com as well. But I think it could be nice for Evan to actually pick up this one with you if he wants and if you want, and yeah, finish it up, because I like this, you know, and this is exactly the type of music that I want to release more often as well, because it's like easy listening and it works really well on Spotify, also in my playlist and in the radio show. So yeah, definitely send this over if you want us to consider it. Yeah, I think it's a good, I just say, yeah, now that it's official that we have Evan as an A&R, I think this could be really nice to together develop this song and then actually sign it. Yeah, I agree. Probably one good session and you're good to go. You know, one feedback round, spice it up a little. Yeah, and of course the short version. You know, I know that you're good at the short versions, but yeah, having this longer version as well makes it a lot easier to play it in mixes and DJ sets. So it's perfect. Yeah, I'm sorry. Why so cold? You probably join in a bit later, but Dummy Splash was going to be the last one for today. Otherwise, I'm going to go over time. So unfortunately, I don't have time for it this week, but next week definitely hit us up. Make sure to drop it on Tuesday. Yeah, so that's also the announcement for next week, that we're going to be doing a. No need to say sorry. Like you probably didn't catch that. Don't worry about it. What you can do though, you can still on the Discord, you can still share in the feedback channel, and you can get feedback from the rest of the community. But I just don't have time for it today anymore because we still have 3 tracks to go. First up is Koppo, Thomas, and Dummy Splash. But yeah, next week I'm getting all the A&Rs on board, and we're going to be doing a listening session together. So we'll probably be going on a bit longer then as well. So yeah, if you're working on some tunes, then next week is the week or the stream to actually send it in. Nice. I would personally do a different progression, but that's just my taste. By the way, I was wondering, have you guys seen the series on Netflix called The Playlist about Spotify? I think it's a good watch, honestly. I recommend it. Some of the things are a bit exaggerated, but definitely a good series. You learn some Swedish along the way as well. Tack. Say that a lot. Which means thanks. Yeah, that's true. I tend to only have like 1 hour a day too, so I have to pick my series efficiently. Yeah, I like this track a lot too. It's the vibe is great. It's an easy listening track. Very nice. Only thing I would say, the only thing I would say is that progression on the bass line. I'm not sure. I mean, you don't have to change it, right? But you could try different progression. It might suit the track better, because I was expecting to hear something else, something different. So it's optional, but yeah, give it a try. You never know. It might work. It might work even better in your track. And yeah, same key. So this one goes like. So yeah, something. I don't know which notes they are, but yeah, just try an alteration, see if it works. If it doesn't work, just stick with what you have. But I think there's a better option for this song, like a better progression, you know. And also something that you can try is having a sustained. So now you have like a rhythmic bass line, right? And you can have a sustained layer on top that's just like a straight bass line, and you just cut the low end out, so you keep the low end of the rhythmic bass, and you use sort of the harmonics of that top layer that's just straight. It plays the same notes, or it plays like a fifth above it, but then you create a sort of harmony out of that, and it creates this like bass line that it sounds like a sustained bass line, but then you have the rhythmic part underneath, and you don't have to make it super loud, but like just loud enough to sort of fill the gaps a little. Or you can use a pad, for example, that's like really wide. Yeah, bass sample pack. Well, maybe I've been making some bass with this bad boy here, and also some in Diva. Who knows? Who knows? Put it on the whiteboard. You're welcome, dude. I really like the song. So like definitely when you've worked on this and you tried some variations and maybe added some, I call it sauce, you know, it's like some extra details and layers in the like background stuff to, you know, to create this little ear candy and that type of stuff. Like 100% send it in as a demo, because like this type of chill music is what I'm also looking to release a bit more, you know. It doesn't have to be super progressive, just like easy listening type of stuff with, you know, there has to be some sort of catchy hook. But these chill tracks, these are the ones that perform really well because I have the network for it. Like people always tell me when I send in new tracks, they're like, yeah, it's too progressive, yeah, it's too club, yeah, it's too this, too that. And when I send in a chill track, they're like, oh yeah, I love it. And then it gets like thousands of streams a day. Like even on like my own tracks that I made in the past, like the most basic ones, they're like, whoa, this is really nice. And then it just streams like crazy. And then I send in a track like a more club oriented track or something that I like really detailed, like, you know, complicated stuff, and they're like, yeah, that's too deep for me, man. I can't place this in my place. It doesn't fit my playlist, doesn't fit my vibe. And I'm like, oh man, should have made more chill house. So yeah, but this works really well with playlisting type of stuff, just like the Arshan track before this. Same thing. Oh yeah. Thing was though, yeah, I mean, I do have this. We do have the agreement. The thing is, Dummy Splash was gonna be the last track, but yeah, I mean, if you donate, you skip the line. So I'm gonna still listen to this one. Gonna squeeze it in. What? You're who? Oh, Exfil. Yeah. No, yeah, I'm gonna get to it. Don't worry about it. No worries. But yeah, if you you know, people that donate, they skip the line, so that's the rule. I'll get to your track. Don't worry. Hey, Luke, hope you're good. I am, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for the donation, Julian. Let's get into it. Like these chords, these pads. No, it's okay. Don't worry. The rule is, you know, if you donate, you skip the line. So it's that simple. Ben Swats. Julian Böhmer. It's definitely a good sound. So, hands up for my German squad, though. Flags for the German squad. I feel like we got a lot of Germans watching, including myself. Hello, let's go. Was geht ab? Well, yeah, if it, you know, if you already have that impression of it being too Ben Böhmer, then, you know, yeah, it definitely sounds like it. But a lot of artists sound like that. It is quite obvious where you have your inspiration from, but it doesn't have to be bad per se. Ja, ich spreche auch ein klein bisschen Deutsch. Aber heute sprechen wir Englisch, weil es Stream ist. Da können ja andere Leute auch teilnehmen, ne? Yeah, I agree with Evan with Modera here. Is that, yeah, you know, all the sounds and everything, it sounds very Ben Böhmer, but I think if you change some of them and, you know, you would get some sounds out of a non-Ben Böhmer sound pack, let's put it like that, then yeah, then you can make it your own, you can make it unique, you know. And it definitely, it's like, it's not a bad thing to get inspiration from the artist that you like. I mean, I like Ben's work a lot too. Doesn't mean that I copy it, but you know, you get some inspirations here and there. So, you know, I've definitely stolen one of his bass lines before, but I mean, most of his bass lines are just like a simple init preset of Diva, so there's not really much to steal. And he probably stolen it from Stefan Botzin, so like, you know, you get inspired by others. But if it sounds too close, then I'd say, you know, change something here and there, you know. And funny thing is, you can steal someone's exact track as long as as they're not bigger than you. Then it's that's how some of these big artists do it. They just rip off upcoming producers' track, or they even, you know, whatever. Yeah, but the thing is, with melodic house, Ben is probably one of the biggest. So every time if you make a track like this, everyone's just gonna link it to Ben's music, right? So then you need to probably find some ways to make it your style, you know. Yeah. That's ooh. That's dark. What? Wait, what's dark? Yeah, and well, the Dutch. Yeah, a lot of Dutch people speak English, but I actually, my mother is German, so I'm half German. So that's probably the reason that I speak German. I mean, I don't speak it fluently, but I understand it. Well, I'm not saying you should copy a smaller producer's work, but what I'm saying is that what happens is when a certain artist with a certain sound becomes big, then all of a sudden everyone is copying them, and because they are big artists, all it does is reinforce their sound and their brand. So with this whole thing where, you know, like, you hear a lot of people making, you know, Ben Böhmer type of music now because he is popular, and all it does is reinforce his brand and his sound. And if it happens too much, so what happened with Oliver Heldens, for example, when Gecko came out, everyone was copying Oliver Heldens and everyone was trying to go for that Oliver Heldens sound, but then it was overused, and that little lead synth that he used with Gecko got, like, you know, got tiring really fast. So then it sort of it blew up the hype. That's what happened. And what I'm saying, yeah, I'm not saying you should copy smaller artists, but what happens is, like big artists, they can find a smaller artist, they can copy them, and they just sort of own it, and then no one cares because no one knows the smaller artist, right? But if it's the other way around, then you will always get sort of recognized as, oh, you're copying this famous artist, or big artist, basically. So that's what I'm trying to say here. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but yeah, it does happen sometimes. So yeah, I've seen it happen. People copying whole tracks, and it happens more often than you think. So yeah, I mean, it happened to Julian. But yeah, that's a long story. Anyway, I mean, not this Julian. I mean, Bound to Divide Julian. But it's whatever. Doesn't matter. It happens. All right. So next up, Thomas, and then we're ending up with Dummy Splash, and then there we go. Care. X-Phil. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Coming back to your track, Julian. I know I've been talking a lot about it, or talking a lot over it. Actually, I really liked it, and the thing is, I didn't have much to add. Maybe here and there, some mixing things, and creating your own unique sound, right? So, taking some of the, maybe like changing the pads a little, or that lead, changing it a little bit. But other than that, it's has good sounds in there, a good style. I really like it. It just needs a little bit of work. Other than that, work on the hook part a little bit, switch it up a little, and then I think you have an amazing track, and you can definitely try sending it in and see what the guys say. I think also Evan would be a good one to check it out. So this one is Thomas's track. You mentioned something earlier. Let me check. Oh, that's different. I don't think it's too empty. Check it out. So what I am sort of expecting here is a little bit of more of a rest in between, because now it just goes and like, yeah, it goes into that proper, like straight up, like right away. It feels like, for some reason, it feels like the timing is a bit off. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'd recheck this build up. Yeah, and the vocal's a bit back, so it could be a bit more up front. That's true. I don't think it's too empty, honestly, because the vocal carries it nicely. What I do think though, that lead that's coming in, you can definitely introduce it somewhere earlier in the track. And here you can start the drop with this more minimal empty like you have it now, and then introduce the lead a bit later, you know, and then have some alterations going on this break, for example. So you make it a bit more memorable and catchy. And then here it comes back, because I do like the lead. It has something, you know, it does have a cool sound to it. Yeah, and the rest, like, it's just a little bit of mixing, you know, getting the levels right on that vocal, the bass line, and the lead. So the vocal it's a bit overwhelming, but it's still in the back. So bring it a bit more up front and, you know, level it out with the rest of the elements. I think with that bass line, could have a little bit more presence as well. So maybe some distortion on it, like a little bit, or have like a return track with a chorus and then low cut it so you don't get the low frequency. So low frequency stay mono, but having that bass line pop out a little bit more, so it has a bit more stereo width and it's a bit more out there. Right now it's just like very dry, like centered type of bass line. And I feel like if you have such a minimal drop, at least make the bass line sound a bit grittier, so it's a bit more out there, basically. I think that's basically all the say feedback that I have for this one. The rest you can probably find in the chat, because there's some good feedback in there as well. All right, so the last one's gonna be Dummy Splash. Last one of today. It's good that you mentioned it. It's 115 BPM, because I thought I was gonna hear 128. I was expecting 128 techno beats, but I'm glad it's still a bit more down tempo. Mild shock. I would say, normally what you're doing, I'm not sure if you do this on purpose. I guess you do, but like the rhythm makes me feel a bit uncomfortable for some reason. And normally your tracks have this really nice flow to it, and with this one it's like I don't know what it is, but it could also be something that you've done on purpose, knowing, you know, the way you make your music. In that case, you know, it has this unique experience, but it makes me be like, I don't know. I like the new picture, by the way. Got some nice leaves in the background. Alright, we're talking ayahuasca now. Well, look, also commenting on what you just said, you're in a creative rut and this is all you can get out this week. And I'm not saying this is bad, but I really like this saying from this dude Mike Monday. Like I'm in his community. Like he does coaching sessions, and he says sometimes you need to get the shit out, otherwise you get constipated. And when he said that, I was like, wow, that's deep, and that's like pretty out there. And that's the creative process, you know. Sometimes you have these days where you feel like you're just not hitting it. I don't know, because honestly, I've heard better work of you. I'm not saying this is bad, you know. It's just not my vibe or my style, I'd say. But yeah, I mean, if you feel like you're in a creative rut, you don't have to hammer it through and go like all crazy, but sometimes you just make tracks and you know you're just making what's coming out. And if that happens to be, you know, bad, that sometimes you just got to plow through it. And that's what I've like really started to relearn and rediscover. As long as you just, you know, you keep exploring, you keep an open mind, you don't judge yourself for it. Yeah, exactly. You know, you explore new techniques, new sounds, try to get inspired by different producers, and you just keep at it. You just try, and you just see like all right, let's see what comes out today. Actually, like this week, I've made my first minimal house track, and I mean it's kind of bad, honestly, but that was exactly what was coming out of me, and I was like, you know what, I'll go with it. And to show you, I'll pull it up. I'll play it for you guys, because like I've been really making lots of music lately, and I try to make a track a day sort of thing. Yeah, like before I play it though, I do want to comment on your track and what you're going through. I mean, it's completely natural. I mean, like if anyone can tell you about this stuff, I am, because I hadn't really made music for half a year up until a month ago. So yeah, I totally get it. Like I've said before, man, like on the live stream, but also on the Discord, is that yeah, I think you have a lot of potential, and honestly, with the type of music that you're making, you know, you can definitely, you know, get to high level. 100%. I 100% believe that. You have a unique sound, something that I haven't really heard before, and yeah, you just keep hammering, man. And that's the funny thing, like every time I have a stream, you always have a new track, and I really admire that. I mean, I don't produce that much, really, and I know very few people that produce that much. So, and it's always sort of finished. It's always, you know, full length track. That's something, man. So yeah, just keep at it. And I'm also sure that that we're definitely gonna hear some music that is good to be considered for the label soon. I 100% believe that. All right. Well, yeah, because I'm probably never ever going to release this anyway. I will talk over it so you guys don't rip it. But yeah, let me show you what I made yesterday. And this was like a 2-hour session, something like that. But I felt like I wanted to do something else. I was like, you know what? I'll just let it be what it's gonna be. It's nothing close to what I've ever made. It's completely new, like a minimal house track. But I was like, you know what? I'll give it a go. See where it goes. So this is my track. Oh wait, it's not actually playing. Hold on. Let's see where it's Yeah. Something else.
Everybody's moving in the back room. We're waiting for the sun to rise. We move a little closer in the back room. Feeling deeper because we know it's our time.
I hope you're doing really good. Call me sometime,
Everybody's moving in the back room. We're waiting for the sun to rise. We move a little closer in the back room. Feeling deeper because we know it's our time.
What? That was my track. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's. It's something completely else, right? It's something completely different, and I don't know. I might finish it sometime, but it's more like, you know, it is what it is. This is what it wanted to be. I just went with it, and I just made something, you know. But it's about building that momentum, just creating every day. And even tunes like this, where the chances of ever doing or ever releasing it or ever whatever finishing it doesn't matter. Yeah, I just wanted to try something else. So you're like, all right, let me try this, see where it goes. So yeah. All right. Yeah, that brings us to the end of this stream. Let's see what we got. Let's play some Hypnotized. Yeah, I'll see you guys next week. I think we had everything, right? We had all the tracks. Yeah. Yeah, so next week we'll be joined by the new A&Rs. So we're gonna be judging extra hard on that new music. Thanks everyone for joining the stream. Also for sending in your tunes. And yeah, hopefully we'll chat further on the Discord, something like that. And otherwise, I'll see you next week. We have hopefully more announcements then as well. But yeah, so oh, chord checks. Yes, Modero's chord check is coming in. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll talk to you next week. All right, bye bye.